Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 36 today for the Japanese Grand Prix, and hallelujah, Finally, the two parts we've been waiting on are finally here. This second one, should have come last episode, but of course, Chris had to inform us it failed. But now we've got a double whammy. We've finally got this major engine upgrade. You can see it technically still hasn't even jumped us a position because apparently the game thinks we're just literally a pixel below Force India. But you can clearly see that jump up we've made on that yellow flat line since the Monaco Grand Prix, pretty much. We've jumped up massively to nearly equal Force India. Apparently. I still maintain this graph isn't completely accurate, and I think, to be honest, we're probably ahead of both Force India and Williams, really on track in terms of the way they've been doing their strategies in AI, but hey-ho, there you go. That shortcut has been done. I was curious how it would work, and, you know, obviously, for me, I think it was the right way to go, because it did give us reliability that we've used against Red Bull Racing this entire season, especially the second half now, going for these last few races. I'm hoping, like Season 1, we'll be seeing some pretty crazy grid penalties for some top runners, especially at least Red Bull. I mean, maybe some of the other guys have done reliability upgrades now at the beginning of this season and in the off-season from Season 1 to Season 2, so maybe they're going to avoid that and going to be able to, you know, do the entire season without having to take any engine penalties. But from what we've seen of Red Bull so far, Verstappen, obviously last episode, took a huge engine penalty to P15 from where it was around P6, I think. So I think Red Bull, at least, are going to suffer towards the end of this season, whereas we, hopefully, knock on wood, will not. So this is really a positive start to this episode in terms of the two upgrades, and, you know, this practice session obviously was the first time now going out in this car with this brand new engine upgrade, and I don't know if it's just my mind playing tricks on me, but I could kind of feel it almost. It was almost like the traction and the power delivery on the exit was now a little bit more touchy, and I had to be a little bit more careful maybe in a way, and also did mean that with some forecasts of rain now, you can see as we move on into Q1, it meant that I could run higher wings here around Suzuka, and it would pretty much equal out to if we ran lower wings because of the power, you know, that we've got now. The extra power would kind of equal out basically, and I'm going to need that extra downforce because the car was struggling a tad in these very tricky conditions around Suzuka. It was almost like half and half because you can see I've already set one lap time on the full wets. This is towards the end of Q1 and I've got no grip whatsoever. I spin out where you've got Ocon there on intermediates, and we've got a whole bunch of people that do eventually go out on intermediate tyres. I can't go out. I've already set one lap that you haven't seen on the full wets, but I tried to go out for a second one. I thought that was more interesting to show the fact I actually spun out because there was so much lack of grip. We do thankfully make it into Q2. Myself and Nico, you can see a few people did get in with the intermediate tyres, so that was a lucky kind of save, I guess you could say, for a lot of us there, that it didn't dry out fast enough. And then into Q2 it was a case of the intermediate tyres weren't needed, tiptoeing around for the first lap, pretty much like was the case at Italy, just kind of, you know, using the first lap as a bit of a taster, a bit of a feeler, kind of just tiptoeing around, feeling out where the grip is, and then on the second lap really going for it. You can see into turn one already gaining a bit of time there on the delta time, and in the S section, obviously in the dry already, it's a case of rolling the car through, not really using the brake too much, and more so using the kind of gear engine braking, I guess you could say, and letting the car roll through and naturally slow down. In the wet, even more so the case of you don't really want to even be changing gear necessarily too much in the S section in the wet because the car just gets offset a little bit, so keeping in fourth gear for most of that, and you can see the entire time on the top right gaining time, and you can see we just about get P10 there as we cross the line, and as we start a new flying lap, you can see at the moment a little bit down on the delta time. Eventually we do gain some more time through the chicane. We're still P10, so we're on the bubble right now at the moment to get into Q3. We are going to improve the lap time a little bit, so I think this will be safely into Q3 then, thankfully. As we cross the line it is, and it's the same for my teammate Nico Hülkenberg, and you can see both of us very equally matched in P7 and P8. You've got to say the best of the rest, and I think now that's why I say beforehand why I think that chart isn't really accurate. I think the Renault team definitely is above Force India and Williams. You can see that right now in the qualifying, we're best of the rest. Both of us so close together in qualifying. I just think that the chart doesn't really factor in the AI lap times and how the AI perform really. There's a little bit more to it than just your pure car performance, obviously. If you stuck Jolyon Palmer in the Renault I'm in from last season, he wouldn't be doing as well as I'm doing this season. I think you could kind of agree to that. So I think there's more to it than that, really. But we move on into Q3 now. A bit of an odd session because the track was drying very fast, but it was still time for intermediates. You could see the sun kind of peeking through, just like Malaysia, really, in qualifying. So through to the last chicane, I haven't honestly felt like this was a very good lap time. So as we come through, I'm not very confident this may even be any higher than P10, kind of like what it was around Malaysia. But we come across the line, and it is going to end up being in P8, but we are out-qualified by our teammate, Nico Hulkenberg. So in the end, it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't amazing because we didn't out-qualify Nico. But you can see, once again, best of the rest. So I don't think I can ask for too much more from the team, from the car. And so me and Nico will try the best we can. I was probably a bit too optimistic last episode, saying hopefully we could maybe finish both ahead of the Red Bull cars, but you never know. I think there may be some rain forecast for the race, quite nicely here, as it sometimes is at Japan. So that may cause a bit of a stir in the mix. So we'll see how it goes there, and we'll get into the grid sequence, and yeah, hopefully we can have a good one.
It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Max Verstappen and Hulkenberg, a Renault, Perez, Massa and Roman Grosjean, Hamilton, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat and Magnussen, Ocon, Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Stoffel van Dorn, Wehrlein and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So like I mentioned before, here's that rain I was talking about. We're going to start on the intermediate tyres. You can see on the indicator for the weather forecast that it is going to get dry then within about one stint of the intermediates. I have a feeling we may be able to pull off a very cheeky kind of dragging the one stint a lot longer, whereas I think a lot of the top runners are going to pit for a second set of inters. So I think that's going to be the plan today, and we can see if we can catch some people out. So here we go to 5 red lights to the Japanese Grand Prix in a bit of a soaking Suzuka circuit. 5 red lights are out, and we're underway here, and it's a pretty okay start for us. A good one for Nico Hulkenberg as he already maybe looks towards turn 1. We've got Felipe Massa with a good start in the second phase of the run to turn 1. Tries to go around the outside. We managed to defend. Hulkenberg has a bit of a look at Verstappen, but all of us have to slow down, and we can't overtake anyone with yellow flags there momentarily into turn 1, as one of the back markers probably had a bit of an issue going into that very overcrowded section, obviously. And we move all the way to lap 5 then, and you can see having a bit of an issue through 130R, trying to keep it behind the dirty air of Nico Hulkenberg. But yeah, unfortunately, a very 2017 kind of boring-esque opening few laps here of basically everyone running their race and everyone's pace very much equalizing in terms of where they are on track in these intermediate conditions. Myself and Hulkenberg pretty much have been this close the entire race, but you can see the gap to the Red Bull cars has been growing for the entire 5 laps, and this is the closest I've got so far though to Nico on towards lap 6. So I'm going to try and maybe size up a move later onto this race. Couldn't make one into turn 1, but as we cut later into that same lap on the exit of the hairpin towards Spoon, we're getting even more time here. We've got fuel to burn. I haven't used it yet though so far in this race because we haven't just been close enough yet, but now I think is the opportunity. So as we go through the exit of Spoon, we're going to try and get the power down as fast as we can. A little bit of a wiggle on the exit, but we're going to go up into Rich Mix now, and we're gaining so much in the slipstream of Hulkenberg. Little shimmy to the left with the steering wheel. It's going to be a pretty easy straight line overtake there on our teammate before we even get to 130R. Turn in there, little lift off to make sure we make the corner, unlike the previous lap where we nearly went off there, and we're up the order into P6. Best of the rest completely indeed, really. And at this point of the race, I believe Sebastian Vettel has already pit for his first set of his first pit stop, his second set of intermediates. So that's why we're into P6, because of course best of the rest would technically be P7 with everyone still in this race. So now as we move on through the laps, you can see on the mini-map there we've got a few more cars in the pits, and exactly as I said, I really think we can pull this off by just continuing on, and we're going to really stretch this, because now it's lap 10, and not only am I stretching this, Hulkenberg's stretching this. Look at this, I'm into P1, Hulkenberg's P2, it's a 1-2 1-2 for Renault for now. I say for now because then eventually by the end of lap 10 it's getting very, very dry. We continue on for one more lap. Hulkenberg's also going to do that, but you can see that Ferrari in the distance, hopefully there is Sebastian Vettel, but myself and Hulkenberg have not pit yet for intermediate tyres. We're continuing on our first set, whereas everyone else pit for a second set of inters. And you can see later on in that lap, as we go through the second sector, you can see our engineer on the right-hand side did ask for a change of strategy. I accepted the strategy call there. It was a two-stop there with 2 sets of super softs, but you can see now clearly on the right-hand side there, I've changed it to soft tyres. So the plan is now, I change onto softs and I go to the end of the race. My engineer was hoping to do a 2-stop with 2 sets of super softs. I'm going to ignore that call. I'm going to go onto a set of soft tyres and try and get to the very end of this race because, yes, we've gained a lot of time here by not even going on a second set of inters, but I think we're going to have to gain even more time now if we're actually going to have to do this in the dry period because there's too much of a dry period now in this race where even though we've gained all this time on the top runners, they're going to have way too much pace and they're going to definitely catch us. So we need this other kind of alternative strategy in the dry as well to maybe try and bag a surprise, I don't know, podium, P4, whatever you want to call it. I don't know at this stage, maybe even a surprise win. I just don't know at this stage what our pace is going to be like. But at the moment as we come out, we're on rich mix. I wanted to try and push hard, but the track was a little bit slippery. But we're out in P4 now. Hulkenberg continue on for one more lap. So unfortunately, I don't think it'll end up being a 1-2 for Renault as everyone finally makes their pit stops. But at least I'll be into P1. And so far, this has been a masterclass strategy with about a third of the race gone. But as we move on to lap 14, I set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, then Vettel does, and also Valtteri Bottas, I believe. And then as we go towards turn 1, it's no use. We are trying as hard as we can. We've got rich mix flowing, but Bottas goes down the inside. He's on super soft tyres. I tried, to be fair to me, I tried to fight him back there, you can see, on the exit of turn 1. No use, though. He plants the power down, and into the S section, he's got me, and he's up into first place. I'm in second, though, at the moment, but into the hairpin, a mistake for me on the left front lock-up, and Vettel is now very easily past me, and I'm down to P3. I'm going to try my best to maybe pull with Vettel along into the spoon section, and maybe we can just get enough slipstream to maybe make a move into 130R. You don't know. I mean, the speed we had against Hulkenberg was ridiculous with the new engine upgrades and the rich mix and the slipstream down here, but Vettel, you can see, has so much more downforce. It's a joke how much time he gains through that exit of that corner compared to my Renault car. So for sure now, I think where we're going to focus our energy on for the R&D is going to be the chassis and the aerodynamics there, because that Ferrari car is just flexing its muscles so much, and Vettel is looking very handy at the moment. Set the fast lap of the Grand Prix on the previous one, so it looks like he's off and away to maybe chase down Valtteri Bottas. So that's what I meant. These guys have way too much pace. I mean, comparing my fastest time to their fastest time, it's just not, there's no comparison there in terms of any hope of me trying to keep up. And Raikkonen, you saw, did pop in the next faster lap, and that means by the time we get to lap 17 with 10 laps left in this race, he's going to close up to me, and we'll have to try and defend my best. And towards 130R, he goes to the left hand side. We're going to have to try and stick it around the outside. We're going to have to give him some space, but we go flat out through 130R, and still, even though we're flat out, Raikkonen still manages to keep his foot in as well on the left. I lock up on the right. I thought that was going to send me wide and defend quite well, but Raikkonen somehow finds the space on the inside and then just uses that Ferrari downforce to good use through the final corner, and we're now down to P4. So this is exactly what I meant now. I need this soft tyre strategy, because now you can see I'm back up into P2. Vettel will pit eventually on the next lap, I think, and then that will mean we're going to be one more pit stop ahead, and this will be our best chance then to try and bag a surprise result. But the problem is it's not really technically one pit stop ahead, because Vettel and Bottas and Raikkonen's pace has been so good as soon as they overtook me basically and got in clean air, that it's basically not even a pit stop ahead. It's only a couple of seconds. As we go into turn 1, you can see on the mini-map that is Vettel coming out the pit lane only about 5 seconds back, so he's not got a lot to actually make up with 6 laps to go. And by the time we come to lap 23, there he is already in my mirrors, so that took no time at all for him to close back up to me, and he's going to try and make a move. We're in rich mix to try and pull up that Renault engine down this straight through 130R again, flat out through that left-hander, that kink, and Vettel still manages to keep his nose in there. We still, though, unlike with Raikkonen, managed to stay ahead in the chicane. And as we move on to the main straight, we're going to have to pull to the right a little bit, try and break this slipstream and really be as tactical as we can in terms of we have to use every bit of kind of, skill we know from the game of trying to, hold up this train and try and hold on to P1, because this would be absolutely fantastic. A part of me, though, thinks it's going to be a bit of a lost cause, but we're going to try it because we've only got 3 laps left after this one left. But as we go through Spoon, we have got a train now, Vettel and Bottas behind us, and down this straight, even with Rich Mix, Vettel's got a beautiful exit. The same with Bottas, and he may make it 3 wide. This is not going to end well. 3 wide into 130, around the outside we go, and oh, Bottas has lost it. He's off, he's spun. Valtteri Bottas has spun out this Grand Prix. It's still P1 for us, still P2 for Vettel, but Valtteri Bottas has been spun round in 130R by Sebastian Vettel, I think that was. I said it wasn't going to end well. I mean, it was quite a spectacle to see us go 3 wide into 130R, but that was never going to end well. Thankfully, though, for now, for us, we're still in P1, but oh boy, that did not go well for Bottas at least. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened here. So you had Vettel here trying to go down the inside, obviously. It's already tricky enough to go side by side with just 2 cars, but then Bottas gets a great toe off the Ferrari car, tries to make it 3 wide here. Then in the entry there, I feel like I gave enough room, like from my side of it. Let's go on board with Bottas completely and see what went on. It looked like Vettel locked tyres with him. Down the inside, he has to go on the curbing, and you can clearly see there's some contact with Vettel, and then really just can't control the car. He basically gets loose, but you can see there on that freeze frame momentarily, I'm giving as much room as I can. My right tyre is based on the grass, so from my point of view, I don't think I've done anything wrong there. Vettel probably could have given Bottas some more room, because Vettel could have actually maybe played it a little bit closer to my car. And then in the end, honestly, I think it's just Bottas' fault. He shouldn't have just tried to stick it down the inside there. It was a lost cause to go 3 wide. But do obviously let me know your opinions, guys, in the comments below. Just like with the Baku crash there was plenty of comments between who is it, Vettel and Hamilton that time. So whose fault do you think that was, Vettel or Bottas? I think it was Bottas in the end, to be honest. I think he should have just backed out of it. But anyway, you can see now onto lap 26, the second last lap of the Grand Prix, still defending from Sebastian Vettel. And now Kimi Raikkonen, you saw Massa was out of this Grand Prix, so that helped us a little bit into the chicane because there was yellow flags previously. And you can see I'm absolutely wrecking the front end of this Renault car, trying to drag it around this circuit. But onto the end of lap 26, down towards 130R, Vettel and Raikkonen both in the slipstream. They're going to go side by side, it looks like, as Raikkonen pulls out on the left. And we're gonna this is going to help us because they're going to go side by side through 130R. They're going to be too busy fighting each other to fight me. So into the chicane, at least, I've got a bit of breathing room at the moment. And so through the second part of the chicane, just taking it nice and easy. Rich Mix, though, we get a little bit wayward on the left-hand side there. You can see they're still going side by side, neck and neck as they go through the last corner. Almost, I think that's Vettel squeezing Raikkonen off into the grass on the left-hand side. But we go 3 wide, neck and neck, down towards turn 1. We're going to go to the inside here and brake as late as we dare, but it's not late enough because Vettel managed to swing it around the outside. And then on the exit, Raikkonen does a switchback on us, and we try to hang it side by side. We may switch back again. Yes, we do. So it's double switchback moves for both of us there. So for now, we've kept second place. We've lost first, though. Unfortunately, you can see the amount of pace that Vettel has there. Look at that. He's waltzed away. That's ridiculous how much pace he has. And then through the left hand on the exit of Spoon, that's how much downforce the Ferrari has compared to me. I just can't keep up there. My tyres have probably gone off as well at this stage. Remember, I've gone on these tyres since about lap 11, so it's been a long old time to torture these tyres. And now we've got the Red Bull, Daniel Ricciardo, right behind me. You can see on the right hand side there, my tyres really are starting to go off the cliff. And so thankfully it is the last lap of the Grand Prix, and just about we're going to come through in the last corner to bring this home for a fantastic podium at the Japanese Grand Prix and be ahead of both Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen. And I think also, great for us, Nico Hülkenberg got P5 there, you can see. So I got ahead of Ricciardo, Hülkenberg got ahead of Verstappen because I believe Verstappen came P6. So overall, both me and Hülkenberg beat one of the Red Bulls respectively. So both of us, fantastic job in the strategy. I really am impressed by Hülkenberg, who did follow me on that strategy on the intermediates. He went as long as I did and went straight onto the dry tyres. He may have done the 2-stop annoyingly in the dry period for 2 sets of super softs, but at least he followed me through on the inters. That was really good to see that he kind of just mimicked what I was doing. And so that allowed us both to beat our respective Red Bull, I guess, rivals, you could say, in that race, really. Myself with Ricciardo, him with Verstappen. And so that means in a net position, Renault are going to outscore Red Bull there. That's great. So we're going to close up in the constructors, but that was a really, really fun race. Fantastic stuff. Crazy to see that 3-wide move into 130R. Unfortunate for Bottas, who lost his front wing or lost part of it and had to make an extra pit stop. But that spectacle alone was absolutely bonkers into that corner. But you can see we have closed up to Red Bull now, and we are very, very close. So, you know, maybe even next race we could get the jump on Red Bull if we get lucky again, or, you know, one of them has a reliability issue. We'll have to see. But Yeah, that double upgrade, definitely I felt like helped. The car felt really good during that race, and with Hulkenberg up there in P5, that definitely tells me that upgrade worked really, really well, that double hit. So now, in terms of where we're going next with this upgrade path, we've got 1,000 points to spend, so we can buy another upgrade. I thought about chassis, but then I thought, you know what, let's go aerodynamics now, because clearly we were lacking some through Spoon there, and instead of doing a drag update, I thought I'd do pure downforce, rear downforce. Now, the rear downforce, if we buy it, it's not going to reduce our straight line speed. The upgrade gives you downforce without kind of giving you more drag in a straight line. So that's the way we're going to go. So we're just going to gain free downforce on the rear end there with that upgrade next time out. I think that will come in 2 races time, unfortunately. Actually, we have to wait. So still, that's going to be good for us. So that's what I've gone for at the end of that episode. And all in all, really, really great one. So guys, if you did enjoy that as well, as much as I did, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you guys next time.